Looking beyond Boko Haram, as I've been asked to do, the clarion call to us as Nigerians is clear. In the face of a broken socioeconomic fabric that has generated so much anguish, despair, and distrust amongst us, we must step back and summon that Nigerian genius that is innate in us in order to reimagine our country and reinvent our vision of oneness. To do this, it is evident to me that the time has come, and it can no longer be postponed, for a new compact, a new social compact to be forged between state and society, whose centerpiece must be an inclusive and an expansive project of human security in our land. From massive investments in public health, nutrition, and education, to the promotion of partnership for affordable housing, household food security, and efficient means of mass mobility, the supply of potable water and electrical power in our cities, towns, and villages, and the creation of enabling conditions for any and every citizen to acquire the civics and skills necessary for navigating life in dignity. There has to be renewed drive to ensure that there is a concrete and meaningful bargain in being a Nigerian. Clearly, the leadership in the most affected state in the Northeast, Borno, has been up to the task in terms of its response to forging a new compact between state and society. Yet, in spite of the best efforts of my brother, Governor Babagana Zulum, and his government following in the footsteps of former Governor Kashim Shettima, it is clear that what is required is a comprehensive national response, not an isolated state strategy. And I believe this must also include a whole-of-country sensitization program that understands and subliminally internalizes the problem as one that will consume all of us, if not addressed, and not a challenge that is exclusively Borno or Kanuri-centric. The reflections which I have had over the period since I made a transition from the academy and civil society arena into active politics and governance, and the modest experiments in social policy reform, which I have endeavored to carry out in Ekiti State, have reinforced my own belief that we cannot meaningfully speak of citizenship in our country today without underpinning it with a comprehensive social compact on the basis of which a civic culture and identity can be built and expanded. The social policy content of the compact must by definition and as a matter of deliberate strategy be universal, non-discriminatory, and pan-territorial. Successfully executed, the new social compact will by itself revamp the content and nature of our national discourses, foster a sense of national identity and belonging, empower citizens, encourage the active engagement of the populace with public affairs, and nurture a system, reciprocal accountability between state and society. No social compact endures which is not accompanied with deliberate public policies to grow and expand the economy on a sustainable basis. In this connection, we will have to carry forward and further our efforts at retooling the public service as a powerhouse of policy design and implementation that is responsive to the needs of the present times and anticipatory of the demands of tomorrow. Armed with an effective and capable civil service, we stand a good chance of creating the policy environment that will allow us to accelerate the expansion of the productive base of the national economy, including the rebuilding of our local manufacturing capacity, the diversification of our domestic revenue streams, the promotion of local value addition, and the expansion of our exports. A capable civil service functioning as the heartbeat of the state is a sine qua non for any social compact that is developed to be workable, sustainable, and vibrant. If an all-encompassing social compact has become an urgent imperative in our quest to look beyond Boko Haram towards an all-round national rebirth, it must go without saying that we have to pay special attention to employment creation on a mass scale so that our bid for socioeconomic progress can stand a chance of being achieved. I am here particularly concerned, as I'm sure you all are, about the role which employment can play in helping the burgeoning army of young Nigerians to build character, enhance personal dignity, eschew crime, lead innovation, and sustain hope for a better future, whilst contributing productively to the development of the nation. For the government, the private sector, and the non-governmental associations, the shared responsibility to tame unemployment must be addressed as a prime order of business in the overall effort to rebuild a basis for citizenship through a revamped social compact. This is what I meant when at Mambaya House 21st anniversary lecture in Kano in December 2021, I suggested that on a pan-Nigerian scale, we need a new Sawaba Declaration. It is a settled matter among students of security studies that human security provides a better all-encompassing framework for assessing the state of health of a nation. To build a new social compact anchored on it assumes that in fulfilling its side of the bargain, the state would also be able to secure the citizenry with credibility. This requires a constant honing of the capacity and capability of the security services to prevent, deter, and overcome threats to the territorial integrity of the country and the lives and property of our citizens. In this connection, ongoing efforts to equip, train, and motivate the armed forces and other agencies of national security to enhance the readiness to deal with conventional and unconventional threats will need to be sustained as an important piece of the goal of national rebirth. Although the military is gearing up to its responsibilities, it is clear that more needs to be done by our armed forces. The quest to advance the project of our state and nation building through a new social compact and associated policies may sound easy, but in reality, it will call for an uncommon display of vision and courage. Fortunately, in the life of the late General Murtala Muhammed and in his example in leadership, we saw the difference which courage, underpinned with conviction, can make in a short space of time. When this is combined with the zero tolerance which his government exhibited towards corruption, indolence, and maladministration in public affairs, we know that it is within us, if we wish, to build a coalition of citizens united by a resolve to clean up and modernize the governance system and project a vision of transformation that can set us on the path towards claiming our greatness as a people and a country. Cleaning up the national stable is a task that must be accepted as an ongoing exercise. It was central to the task of national reset that the Mohammed Obasanjo administration committed itself to pursuing. The overarching goal of rebuilding a strong, united, and virile nation, living at peace with itself and in dignity in the Committee of Nations, was a constant refrain in the various public declarations made by General Muhammad during his time at the helm. The esteemed chair for this anniversary occasion was to further expound on this theme in the famous Jaji Declaration, which he pronounced in 1977, and which lit up the imagination of a generation of Nigerians about the manifest destiny that awaits us if we organize ourselves with purpose to build a country of which all Nigerians can be proud. Rediscovering our innate national genius in order to fire our imagination and will for a new social compact will not only be beneficial to us as a nation and a people, but also the entire African continent and the black world, which scholars nowadays refer to as global Africa, and which look up to Nigeria for direction. In this regard, many in this room would recall how we were all inspired by the famous Africa has come of age speech, which the late General Muhammed delivered with aplomb and conviction at the Addis Ababa Extraordinary Summit of the defunct Organization of African Unity, held in July 1975, to determine an African continent's position at a most decisive moment in the Angolan struggle for independence. General Muhammad boldly told his colleagues and the world of Nigeria's decision to cast its lot with the popular movement for the liberation of Angola, led by the late Agostinho Neto. And in doing so, he declared, and I quote, "Africa has come of age. It is no longer under the orbit of any extra-continental power. The fortunes of Africa are in our hands to make or mar." The Africa Hall venue of the summit was electrified. The African continent was mesmerized. The Africa world glowed with pride. What General Muhammad successfully triggered in most Nigerians at home, he also inspired abroad, across Africa and the entire world. A determined effort at a domestic national reset was refracted effortlessly into the country's foreign policy posture. In Murtala Muhammed, we had a leader we could trust. In the Mohamed Obasanjo administration, we had a government we could believe in. We lived a moment of pride and dignity as Nigerians, convinced that together, as one people, we can surmount our differences and overcome our weaknesses to march forward and onward in the journey of forging our national greatness. Boko Haram and all it symbolizes may have brought out in sharp and painful relief the many discontents that have accompanied our state and nation building efforts. However, like the generation of General Muhammad, our duty is to reorganize in order, like Phoenix, to rise from the ashes stronger and better. It will be a historic betrayal to succumb to pressures and sentiments of division and dismemberment on account of the many difficulties that we have had to grapple with associated with Boko Haram. This is the time when the many Murtalas among us, that army of committed citizens who refuse to give up on Nigeria, on the Nigerian idea and ideal, so ably embodied by the late general, must stand up and raise their voices in counterweight to the Boko Haram mentality of dismemberment and in defense of a Nigeria agenda built on a new and updated social compact. Our esteemed chairman, yourself a celebrated embodiment of the pan-Nigerian spirit, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I wish on this day and on this auspicious occasion to publicly restate my own unalloyed commitment to this agenda, which must now blossom as we strive to forge a new phase in our national history. When it mattered, Murtala Muhammed stood up, along with his many colleagues to be counted. 46 years after he left us, history presents all Nigerians of good faith an opportunity to take a stand too and become part of the detachment of the bearers of a new national agenda who must come together to move us beyond the Boko Haram menace and restore popular faith in our unfinished march to greatness. Long may the memory of Murtala Muhammed abide with us. Long may his spirit inspire us. And long live the Murtala Muhammed Foundation. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I thank you all for your kind attention.
Another round of applause would be entirely appropriate. And also a word of thanks, especially because we have the printed speech which has been distributed around the room. Thank you to the foundation and Governor Fayemi for making that available. It's a very important further confirmation of the importance of the ideals of the Murtala Muhammed, General Murtala Muhammed himself, its foundation, and of those who are committed to our country remaining one indivisible country with great promise for the future. Thank you, sir. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I need not tell you that our Baba has been online all the way through. We tested to make sure the communications were working properly, and he said he was very much around. I know he has been. So it's my great pleasure at this point in time to welcome, to make a few remarks, the man who has symbolized doggedness in belief in Nigeria, the man who was on the right-hand side, if I remember the video correctly, when General Murtala Muhammed made his first speech as head of state. And of course, this is the only foundation that has, I think, 3 of those very important and loyal friends as members of the Board of Trustees, General T.Y. Danjuma being the other one, as well as General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. So, sir, welcome to you this morning. Please make your speech, sir. You might be muted, sir. We're not. Yes, it's now. We can hear you, sir.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. I started by thanking you, the master of ceremony, and then also apologizing for my voice. I've been nursing a bad cold for about 5 or 4 days. So if at any stage you do not hear me well, please let me know. Either I will drink something to clear my throat. I have an agbo by my side, which I can drink to clear my throat a bit. Let me thank the lecturer, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, for doing a splendid job. I will come, of course, to talk a little bit about the lecture towards the end of my short contribution. Let me apologize to you for not being able to be physically with you in Abuja this morning. Every effort was made to make me to be with you, and Aisha did a great job to make this happen. But things happened that made it not possible for me to be physically with you. But I have listened attentively to the proceedings so far. Aisha was right in saying that I volunteer for her to become the chief executive of Murtala Muhammed Foundation. She was right, because I believe that and if we haven't had somebody like Aisha, I don't know where the foundation will have been today. And you have seen from her own presentation that I probably didn't make a wrong decision at that time. What Aisha forgot to say is that I also volunteered myself to be the chairman. So if I was unfair to you, Aisha, by commandeering you to be the chief executive, maybe I was also equally unfair to myself by volunteering to be chairperson. But Aisha, I want to thank you for the tremendous work you have done. And I want to thank Binga because Binga didn't object, and he could have objected at that time. To say, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to my wife? Even though it's also the daughter of the man we were honoring. I want to also pay compliments to Advocate, who has stood firmly and stood the foundation since its inception. We thank God that all of you, including Rizqa and the others, are waxing strong. We have listened to Dr. Fayemi on that beautiful lecture given for Beyond Boko Haram, addressing insurgency, banditry, and kidnapping across Nigeria. Of course, believe talking about these, the menace of all these bad things happening in our country. Dr. Fayemi is more than capable, by virtue of his experience, by virtue of his appointment, by virtue of his being, because the governors and the communities are the ones who bear the brunt of complaints and the brunt of menace of these things. And he, as the chair of Governor's Forum, he will know where the shoe pinches. And from what he has presented, there's no doubt that it was well researched. He brought his own experience, even as a young man, to bear on his lecture. And he even went beyond Boko Haram, or all the problems, I would say almost all, that we had that predated Boko Haram, the armed robbery cases. The point he forgot to mention is that all these started immediately after the Civil War because of the ease with which people could have access to weapons. And then, of course, we've never come out of it since then. We've been going from bad to worse. In the year 2011, when Boko Haram was just showing its ugly head, I went to Maiduguri to try and find out a little bit more about Boko Haram. And insurgency, maybe I was trying to find out what their objective was. And they said they are interested in Sharia. But they also complain that their followers had no job, and in their effort to do something about getting legitimate or making the legitimate effort to help their followers, the government started chasing them and gunning them down. And what I feared at that time seemed to have been happening, because in 2011, when I was looking at the issue of Boko Haram had not much of external connection. In fact, the intermediary who was helping me to reach out to them said maybe 10 to 11% would be the external connection they had at that time. And that external connection would be Nigerians who have some resources abroad who were helping them. My fear then was, could we be able to get them away from Al-Qaeda and other international terrorist organizations? We seem not to have been able to do that. And today, Boko Haram and those outside who have come to join them or to work with them or with whom they are working had made the situation much worse than it was 11 years ago. Kidnapping and banditry, abduction have become part or separate aspect. In some cases they are separate, in some cases they are part. But whatever they are, we still have to deal with them. Dr. Fayemi, then after he has looked at those things that preceded Boko Haram, and towards the end of his lecture, he gave what I believe are very, very important, and that is, what are the causes of these? They didn't just spring up overnight. And we talk about rising question of poverty, unemployment, social disparity, and so on. I believe the emphasis that should be placed on education was not placed, although he wrapped it up in social conditions. With the population of Nigeria today standing at 215 million, and 15 million children who should be in school that are not in school. It doesn't matter how we deal with Boko Haram, banditry, kidnapping, abduction today, either by stick or by carrot, or by stick and carrot. Those 15 million children that should be in school that are not in school are the potential Boko Haram of 10 years from now, 15 years from now. And I believe that it's not too late to start, even while we we still have Boko Haram here with us and banditry and the, to say to ourselves, we do not want Boko Haram of the year 2030, the year 2035. And if we don't do anything about those 15 million children that should be in school that are not in school, yes, we are already nurturing the Boko Haram of tomorrow. I like the way Dr. Fayemi put it. Step back and invent and reinvent. There are many things that we have to reinvent. Maybe because I'm a rural man, and also because I believe very much in our culture. And there are very many good things in our culture. Maybe part of what we have to reinvent is our cultural way of life, traditional way of life, the good things that are there. He used the word we are brothers, keepers. Commonality is part of our way of life. And that's one thing that makes us different. And commonality means that we talk of we, and not I. Nowadays, everybody thinks that he can do it all by himself. And when you look at some of the things we are doing, and then you wonder why we are not succeeding, because we are doing the same thing all the time. Things that we did last year that didn't pay us, that we did the year before the last that didn't pay us, and we are coming to do it again. Either we are in the same gap that we were year before and last year, or we are in another gap, and of course sharpening our mouth to speak more sweetly. I believe that the idea of treating symptoms rather than the disease will not get us there. This disease of Boko Haram or banditry, and you got it right, is those things that people expect. They want a good life. They want to get a job. They need education. They must be given education. And this, for as long as they are denied this, they will be right to make demand on the society. Willingly or willingly by the society given to them, or unwillingly, they extracting it from the society. And we must see this. You also talk about intergeneration collaboration. We have to. Kayode Fayemi, you talk about you being in secondary school when Murtala Muhammed was there. If Murtala Muhammed still have to, people of Murtala Muhammed's age still have to compete with you as governor, then something is wrong. Murtala Muhammed's crew should be sitting aside and looking and telling that, look, meaning that what experience we have, what knowledge we have, we should be able to give it to you And you should be able to start giving to those who are coming after you so that we make sure that the study we have, the experience we are passing it down to those of you who are coming behind, not to start competing with you, but to make you have access to what you can use to make Nigeria better than you find it. Now, just as a matter of what I have found, dealing with Boko Haram, I have found, as I said, we seem to be treating symptoms rather than the disease. We have the issue of being turned, people who have turned the whole exercise to an industry so that they can supply equipment, material, some useless equipment, some old equipment and all that. They've turned it into an industry. The equipment that we even buy legitimately, the restraint. They buy equipment from a country and the country says you have to take permission from us before you can use this equipment for internal operation, but not for external operation. These are some of the inhibitions that I believe we have had. As I said, the present position is we have 215 million Nigerians. Most of them are under 30 years of age. About 65% of them are under 30 years of age. Most of those that are under 30 years of age, those of them that need job, not more than 50% of them have job or feel fully employed. Now these are issues that we have to face. These are issues that we have to deal with. And you talk very eloquently about the issue of economy. Our economic situation today is lamentable, to say the least. This, we have to do something about it. And if I can round up, I would just say that education will be first priority. Because unless you take care of education, you will not be able to take care of a lot of other things. Investment, internal and from foreign investors will be very, very important. Most of them are just waiting and watching. And some have even disinvested. Like I heard of most of the large oil companies, they are disinvesting in Nigeria. Why are they doing that? And what can we do to stem it? For me, and Coyote, you didn't say enough on this. We aren't going anywhere until we take nation building seriously. And we are not taking nation building seriously. Until we take nation building seriously and we really move Nigeria from being a country to being a nation, we are not going to go far. Justice and equity. Building a society where everybody feels that he has a stake in it. We need power. Our situation in Africa and indeed in the Community of Nations is not like when as you quoted, Africa has come of age. That statement at that time was a statement that Nigeria could stand and back up. If you remember, we gave Angola $20 million. We could afford it. We could give it. And we said our airline should be, it was the only airline that was going to Angola, bringing people out of Angola to the rest of the world. I don't know, do we have that power today? Economic power, political power, diplomatic power, and social power within our country, within our sub-region of West Africa, within our continent of Africa. We were young in those days. None of us, we were all under 40, Murtala and myself. We were idealistic, if you like. We were also naive, if you like, because we were young. But one thing you can say for us, we were committed Nigerians. No doubt about that. I believe that we still have committed Nigerians. But as you say, they need to come out and be counted. And then we will be able to deal with Boko Haram, banditry, kidnapping, abduction across Nigeria, or any other misdemeanor in my land. Once again, I thank all of you that are here, and I thank the lecturer, and Aisha. I thank you for continuing the whole effort. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Baba. And I know that everyone here joins me in praying for your continued good health. And also we would like to know the Agbo recipe if possible, because some of us might need it more than you.
Over 80, you come and ask for the Agbo.
Thank you, sir. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, listening to Baba is always a pleasure. And perhaps, as you know, he was sitting, listening to the speech and making notes, because I know that he didn't receive it beforehand. I wonder who else could have summarized Dr. Fayemi's speech as well as he did. I did take note of the fact that he thinks education is one of the most important things for this country, and I don't think anybody would argue with that. 16 million, 15 million, even if it was 1 million children out of school, if today that child grew to be 10 years old out of school, in 10 short years he'll be 20 years old without a job and a danger to the whole of the society. If it takes a village to raise a child, what if the village fails? That potentially is the end of that village. Investments, of course, both internal and external. And if we are not serious about nation building, about the importance of justice and equity for all, so they can believe all together in the one country and turn it into a nation, then the optimism of our revered former head of state is going to be sorely tasked. So we do have a great job ahead of us, and we'd like to thank him very much for offering that reminder once again and for his continuous belief in our country. Thank you, sir. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have, of course, with us here today members of the Chibok community and Dapchi, and I was told that there possibly would be one member of that community coming to say a few words to us. And that also would be an important moment so that we can hear firsthand of what they have experienced and how important it is that they have the support of organizations like the Murtala Muhammed Foundation to assist them and continuing to believe in them and to continue to look for their children to safely return home. Well, a round of applause will be small compensation, but recognition of their presence with us today.